All right, now South Africa's infrastructure decay is evident in the second annual Webfleet Road Safety report. Commercial fleet operators mentioned deteriorating roads as one of the main causes of accidents, alongside fatigued drivers and poorly maintained vehicles. For more on the revelations of the report, we are joined by Webfleet South Africa's Manson. Justin, thank you so much for your time. South Africa is still amongst one of the most unsafe countries when it comes to how we drive and road carnage. What's your report indicating? Are we improving at least?
Hi, Maseko, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not is the short answer. If we compare the previous report from 2022 to this report, there was definitely a decrease in vehicle malfunctions, which talks to vehicle maintenance. So that's a very positive thing. The second one which stood out, which was also a decrease, was road accidents in the transport sector caused by people driving under the influence, which is also a big positive thing. So it possibly means that companies are putting in stricter policies and procedures in place when it comes to, number one, maintaining vehicles, and number two, checking their drivers who might be under the influence. I think three that remained very much the same, and you kind of opened with it, is the poor road conditions. That was pretty much the same as the previous year, as well as the time of day that accidents are taking place, so late afternoons and during the evenings. And then other drivers was also still very high. So, the normal person in a vehicle, you and I driving down to the coast, or whatever the case, maybe you're driving to work, we don't understand how the vehicle, how a truck operates. We don't understand the physics of a truck, and that leads to a lot of accidents. So unfortunately, that was still very high. So we haven't seen a decrease overall, except for maintenance and drivers driving under the influence, which is a positive.
And of course, I guess for me, Justin, it's also the fact that it's not only government that can work on us improving on the safety on our roads. Yes, the infrastructure, definitely, that's all on them and their partnerships with the private sector, etc. But your drinking and driving, for instance, that's us. It's a societal issue as well.
Definitely. No, without a doubt. I mean, it's just, I think, drinking and driving and just being courteous on the roads, just the respect of other drivers on the roads. I think that is something that we as society should be addressing, whether you are a private individual or whether you are a business. We should be addressing those sorts of things which government doesn't have a handle on by ourselves, because that already starts to contribute to much safer roads.
I was speaking to an expert a little earlier on about project management and how that is an issue in South Africa, because it's a position that's not taken very seriously by government, and that's what's seen SOEs also just deteriorate the way that they have in our country. And I wonder if you think it's the same when it comes to infrastructure development on our roads. Is it also an issue of probably the project managers that are hired, that don't know how to ensure that the roads are actually built properly?
Yeah, I certainly do think that does play a role in it. I think that, if you think about road construction and building a road, it's a pretty scientific process. You can't just take a piece of land and grade it and put tar and stones down. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So I think perhaps, skill sets and as you said, from a project management perspective, perhaps we are lacking slightly in that area, which we need to improve on. I think that that's one aspect of it. That talks to new roads and talks to repairing damaged infrastructure. I think that the damaged infrastructure is also an area of massive concern, because those roads are still in use at the moment. And perhaps what we need to do from a government perspective is have a look at how do we shorten the process to issue tenders to get repairs done to specific pieces of road, especially those roads that are utilised a lot more.
And Justin, I just want to repeat a line that I mentioned in the introduction to our conversation, because I think it's quite important. It says commercial fleet operators mentioned deteriorating roads as one of the main causes of accidents, alongside fatigued drivers and which are causes of accident. I think it's quite important to look at that, because At the same time, we know that there is an SOE that was usually responsible for the shifting of goods in South Africa, and now trucking has become the main thing because that SOE is not doing so well. It's basically almost failing, actually. So now we're seeing that the trucks are on the roads more. That also contributes a lot heavily, right, on the infrastructure being damaged much faster and needing faster maintenance.
Yes, definitely. It certainly does. And you know, we're not going to see a decrease in the number of trucks on the roads anytime soon. In fact, we're going to see an increase in the number of trucks on the roads. You know, we talk about the SOE that's not doing so well at the moment. I was reading a report yesterday talking about the debt of around about 130 billion, which is quite high.
Yeah.
So for them to be able to do the repairs and the maintenance is quite difficult. And the more trucks you put on the road, the quicker the degradation of that particular portion of road takes place. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is a situation that we have to be in because we need to be moving goods from inland to the ports and from the ports back inland again. So it's a situation we're not going to get away with anytime soon.
And of course, that SOE is Transnet. They did ask government after a very long time for a bailout. Actually, I think it was the very first time that they've asked for a bailout. But that then becomes a vicious cycle, doesn't it, Justin? Because if Transnet won't get things together and we're getting more trucks on the roads, we can't blame necessarily the fatigued driver part, because I'm assuming that people who have businesses that they need to run and that they need those businesses to stay afloat, they'll be putting the drivers under pressure to keep going for these goods to get to the next point. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's if you're not able to fix on the one side and you need to add more on the other side, that cycle just keeps going around and around. And you're correct. You know, the driver fatigue, a large portion of that is due to drivers spending a large amount of time behind the wheel and driving long distances. And you know, I don't want to paint the entire industry with the same brush, because there are operators out there who are really, really good, and they do stick to the rules which have been put in place through self-regulatory bodies. But it does play a big role. I mean, you know, a lot of operators don't follow the self-adherence rules, and they do push their drivers really hard, which is unfortunate because, you know, at the end of the day, that driver's got a family, he's got kids at school, he's got a bond to pay, all the rest of it. So it's unfair, and that vicious circle is going to continue, I think, for quite some time to come.
Justin, thank you so much for your time. Quite a bleak picture that Justin Manson is confirming from a report at Webfleet South Africa. He's the sales director there. We still haven't improved in South Africa in terms of our road carnage, which is caused by a lot of the issues that you and I know about.